Welcome to Dr. ACR Academy. Topic of the video is Respiration in Organisms. This is from CBSE 7th Class Science Chapter 10. A living organism is a thing that can act or function independently. For example, animals, plants and bacteria. All organisms are made up of small microscopic units called cells. A cell is the smallest structural and functional unit of an organism. Each cell of an organism performs several functions such as nutrition, transport, and excretion and reproduction. To perform all these functions, the cell needs energy. At the bigger level, a body needs energy continuously irrespectively of the kind of work we are doing. That may be eating, sleeping, walking, running or reading a book. And where does this energy come from? How does it come? In simpler words, this energy comes from the food we eat and the air we breathe. The food that we eat has stored energy mainly in the form of glucose. The glucose reacts with the oxygen of the air and releases energy. This process by which the organism combines oxygen with the food components to deliver energy at cellular level is called cellular respiration, which takes place in all cells of all organisms. Cellular respiration may be aerobic cellular respiration or anaerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration, the breakdown of glucose happens in the presence of oxygen, while the anaerobic respiration, the food is breakdown without using oxygen. The aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration can be represented as follows. Unicellular yeast produces its energy through anaerobic respiration, and such organisms that produce energy without using oxygen are called anaerobes. Yeast break down the glucose into alcohol and carbon dioxide in the absence of oxygen and can be represented as Furthermore, anaerobic respiration occurs in human beings also. Normally, all human being body cells generate energy by aerobic respiration. But in some cases, required amount of energy becomes very high, where the supply of oxygen becomes a limited factor. In this situation, body generates additional energy by anaerobic respiration. The best quoted example is a muscle cell. During normal conditions like sitting and walking, the muscle cells produce energy by aerobic respiration. When we start running, the muscle cells need more energy in a short period of time. So, the body switches on to anaerobic condition. also to produce more energy in absence of oxygen also. In fact, during this anaerobic respiration, the glucose is partially broken down into lactic acid, and the accumulation of lactic acid in the muscle cells lead to muscle cramps. However, taking a hot water bath or massage can relieve this cramp because a hot water bath and massage help to supply more oxygen to the muscle cells. Then the oxygen breaks down the lactic acid into carbon dioxide and water. Hold your breath by closing your nose and mouth tightly. Really? See how long can you hold your breath as you continue reading. How long can you do it? We feel uncomfortable after some time. We cannot hold our breath for a long time. A typical human cannot survive without breathing for more than 3 minutes. This indicates that it is very much essential to survive. Breathing is taking in air rich in oxygen and giving out air rich in carbon dioxide with the help of respiratory organisms. Breathing is a lifetime continuous process in the organisms. This involves taking in air rich in oxygen into the body is called inhalation, and giving out air rich in carbon dioxide is known as exhalation. During breathing, inhalation and exhalation take place alternatively. A breath means one inhalation plus one exhalation, which takes place alternatively. And the number of times a person breathes in a minute is termed as the breathing rate. Let's do a small experiment to understand that. Does the rate of breathing is same, or does it change as per the requirements of oxygen by the body? Record the breathing rate while you sit, walk and run. The values are from the table, we can realize that whether a person needs more energy, he breathes fast. That helps the supply of more oxygen to the cells, which in the speed of the breakdown of more food to release more energy. That's the reason we feel hungry after physical activity. Now, record breath rate of various daily activities like sitting, walking, sleeping, working, reading and playing. We understand that various activities show different breathing rates. We can conclude that the rate of breathing directly relate to energy needs or demands. Let's look at the air travel into the body. Air enters the body from the nostrils, then enters the nostrils and windpipe and eventually reach the lungs. Lungs are the respiratory organs present in the chest cavity. There are ribs on the side of the chest cavity. A large muscular sheet called the diaphragm forms the floor of the thoracic cavity. Breathing involves the movement of the diaphragm and rib cage. In the closer observation, with every inhalation, the air fills the lungs. With every exhalation, it rushes back out. The basic principle to understand is that more space in the chest cavity is required to accommodate inhaled air, and the size of the chest cavity should be reduced to push out the used air. So, during inhalation, the ribs move up and down, and the diaphragm moves up in the thoracic cavity, and the air goes into the lungs, from where the air is supplied to all parts of the body. From here, the used air reaches and fills the lung. During exhalation, ribs move down and inwards, while the diaphragm moves up to its former position. This reduces the size of the chest cavity and the air is pushed out of the lungs. Interestingly, the movements can be experienced by taking the palm on the abdomen after a deep breath. Furthermore, we can understand the mechanism of breathing by a simple model. Here, we are showing a little variation from the textbook. Take a white plastic bottle, remove the bottom, then fix a balloon as shows. Now, to understand the expansion of lungs, pull the lower balloon from the base downwards and watch the balloon in the bottle. Next, push the lower balloon up and observe the upper balloon. The changes can be summarized that during inhalation, diaphragm pushes down and in exhalation, it moves up. Now, look at another important activity to understand the contents of breathe out air. With the help of a straw, blow out air into the test tube containing freshly prepared lime water and observe the changes. Here, the lime water turns into milky, indicating the presence of carbon dioxide in the breathed out of air. In addition to carbon dioxide, there are many other gases. And moisture in the air. The presence of moisture can be observed as a thin film of moisture on the mirror when we exhale on a mirror. Breathe for better life. Regularly, traditional breathing exercise called pranayama can increase the capacity of lungs to take in more air. Thus, more oxygen can be supplied to the body cells, resulting in release of more energy. Coming to the nature of breathing in other organisms, animals such as elephants, lions, cows, goats, frogs, lizards, snakes, and birds have lungs in their chest cavities just like humans. In some other organisms such as cockroach, earthworm, fish, they do not have lungs to breathe the air. Hence, they show other ways to take in air into the body. Let us start with cockroach. Like other insects, the cockroach has small openings on the side of its body. These openings are called spirals. Internally, these spirals connect to a network of air ducts called the trachea of the exchange of gases. Oxygen-rich air travels through these spirals into the tracheal tubes. From there, the air diffuses into the body tissues and reaches each cell of the body. Similarly, carbon dioxide from each cell goes out to the trachea and exits through the spirals. And these air ducts or trachea are found only in the insects and not in a group of other animals. Next, exchange of gases in earthworm. Earthworms also do not have specialized respiratory organs like lungs. Instead, they take oxygen and expel carbon dioxide directly through the skin. The skin of earthworm contains a thin layer of moisture and feels slippery in touch. The gases get dissolved in this thin moisture layer and diffuse inward into the network of capillary lying just below the body surface. An interesting fact is that frogs can also breathe through their skin, even though they contain a pair of lungs. Let's move to the nature of breathing underwater. Fish are an aquatic organism that uses their gill to absorb dissolved air in the water. These gills are the projections of the skin supplied with many blood vessels for gas exchange. From there, oxygenated blood is supplied to all parts of the body. Finally, coming to plants. Do plants respire too? Yes, like all living things, plants breathe for their survival by taking oxygen from the air and give out carbon dioxide. An interesting fact is that each part of the plant can take in oxygen from the air independently and give off carbon dioxide. In leaves, the exchange of gases takes place through small holes called stomata. In the roots, they take air directly from the air spaces between the soil cells. At a cellular level, oxygen is used to break down glucose into carbon dioxide and other organisms. Hope now you can guess what would happen if a water plant is overwatered. You learned in this chapter that respiration is an important biological process. All living things need it to breathe to get necessary energy for their survival.